So you've built a .NET Core website, and that could be with MVC, Razor Pages, or Blazor, and it's connecting to a database. Now you're just confused how to deploy it to the internet so that you can show it off to your friends. Now you've come to the right place, because I'm going to explain the deployment of a .NET Core website in 5 easy steps. We're going to use a hosting provider, and that's going to make our lives very easy. So let's start with step 1. Now for step 1, we are going to just confirm what we have. Over here I have a .NET MVC website, and it's connecting to a local database, and I have it's just a basic website which shows the list of students on the home page. You can see in the data I have a student DB context, and it has an entity called student which just has the ID and the name field. Now in the program.cs file I have the connection string, which is getting called from app settings.json, and I'm passing the connection string to create the DB context to add the injection into the services. And in the app settings I just have a connection string called default connection, and I'm giving the localhost server information, and that's my local DB. So if I open the SQL server, this is my localhost, and if you see students, I have created one student, which is the development student, just to signify that this data is coming from the development environment. Now if I run the website, you can see that I have a table, and there's one record in there called development student. If I add more records, it'll show up over here. So locally everything seems to work fine, and our website is working as intended. Now we'll go to the second step of the process, and that is to buy a hosting provider. In this case, we are going to use smarterasp.net, and that's a hosting provider in which you can publish your .NET Core websites. So use the link in the description of the video. That's an affiliate link, so that you can sponsor the video. Basically you get charged nothing, so it's the same charge for you, but I'll just get an affiliate money when you go through that link. Now when you click the link, you'll open a website called smarterasp.net, and you can see that they basically host ASP.NET websites. That's what the name is. And one amazing thing about them is that they offer the 60-day free trial. So you can build your application and you can test if everything is working correctly along with the database, and even if you have emails, you can test all of that by hooking with them and then publishing your website on smarterasp.net, because it's free for 60 days. Not even a credit card is required. So feel free to use the service. You don't even have to sign up as a paid customer. So feel free to just use it and see how it goes. I had so many websites with them as the paid customer, of course, but I initially started with a 60-day free trial. So we can see the hosting plans. So if I go there, we have the hosting plans. We have the 60-day free trial, as I said, and that has the one number of websites that you can host. So you can only host up to one website. So once you have discovered that everything is going smooth and you can now shift to a paid plan, I would suggest you to go either to the .NET Advanced or the .NET Premium plan, because then you have the flexibility to upgrade to at most 6 websites in the .NET Advanced plan, or unlimited number of websites in the .NET Premium plan. Along with the website, you get 3 GB of RAM or 512 MB of RAM in the advanced version, but I think the premium one is really good for the money that they are offering. It's only $8 per month, which is really good, because in that you're getting the website deployment. You're also getting SQL Server, which is already quite expensive. If you see Azure costing, it's very expensive. So in here, in the premium and the advanced plans, you get around 6 databases and 20 databases with a lot of memory over here. So when you're ready, you can click on one of these buttons. I would surely tell you to buy the free one, because why not avail the 60-day free trial. So click on the buy now button, and over here we have some information that you have to fill in, like email, confirm email, password, and just basic information. And if you have clicked on the link that I gave in the description, you'll see this as the affiliate ID. And if you've clicked that, thank you for supporting the channel, means a lot. Otherwise, you can put the affiliate ID over here, which is Samir Saini 8, and you can skip that if you don't want to. So now sign up, and then you'll come up to the dashboard. So after all the sign up process, I am in the hosting of tab of the website, and I had some previous plans as well. But if you go to the control panel, you will have, I guess, as part of the sign up process, one website which you can go on and delete from the dots over here. But the first thing I'll do is to create the new website, and that's the third step in our 5-step thing. So create a new website and we'll deploy our website over here. So name your website, we'll say .NET MVC, and click on submit. Once you have the new website listing over here, we need to get the profile or the published profile from this directory back into Visual Studio. So from here, I'll say show web deploy. If I scroll up, it's over here, show web deploy. So I click on this button, and over here, I'll just click on the get published setting button. This will download a file from me. And once the file has been downloaded, I'm going to go back to Visual Studio and open, or basically publish my import this profile that I've downloaded. So right click on the project, you can go to publish, and over here, apart from all these other options, you have the option to import the profile. So click on that and click on next, and then browse to wherever you saved this profile. I have it in downloads, so click on that and open this profile. Finish the button, and then you can close it. So our profile has been saved. We don't have anything deployed yet. We just have the profile. So basically a connection between Visual Studio and smarter ASP.NET. So if you see over here, we have the server information, we have the IIS information, username and password. Now, if you go on here and edit this, we do get some options to select the database and provide the connection string so that we can deploy everything in one go, but that's not the best practice. I'm going to show you what the best practice is. So I'm going to leave this database and the migrations for now and just deploy the website. So I'm going to click on publish, or if you are just here, right click on the project, publish, and it'll open up this. So publish button, and you have to provide the password that you had set. So I'm providing that. Press OK, and this is now publishing the website and basically transferring the files from Visual Studio into the directory inside smarterasp.net. Once the publish is done, we see the error on the website and it opens the website automatically. We see the error because there's no connection to SQL Server and we don't even have a database for production yet. But the privacy page works. So our application is running, but there is no connection to SQL Server. So that's our next step, which is step number 4. We are going to create a new database and then provide the migrations to this database, insert some dummy data, and then finally create the environment variables, which is the best practice to store sensitive information. So first thing first, we are going to create the SQL Server database. So back inside smarterasp.net, I'm going to go to databases. I'm going to click on MS SQL, which is Microsoft SQL Server, and I'm going to click on the add database button. Select the version that you want. I'm sticking to the latest. Give some username and password, and click on submit to create the SQL Server database. Now, once this is created, we are going to test it locally first. So you can click on the example over here. So if I minimize the website, we have a button called connection string examples. If I click on that, there'll be a dialog box, and here's the connection string. Now it's not in the correct format, but we can modify that. I'm going to open Notepad over here, and let's just first remove the double quotes from the beginning. I don't know why they have that. I think it's some kind of a glitch or a bug. But we have the server information, which is the data source. We then have the database information that we just created. We then have the user ID, which is the admin user, and the password. So you're going to replace the password over here. But first of all, let's first try to connect this locally. So I'm going to open SQL Server Management Studio and connect to another database engine, which is going to be this server. So I'm going to copy this, paste it over here, and then select SQL Server Authentication. Then use the ID, which is the user ID, and I'm going to give the password now. Also select this checkbox which says Trust Server Certificate. And now if I click on the connect button, it takes a little bit of time, but it does connect to my remote SQL Server, which is present in smarterasp.net. You can see that when I connect to the server, I have the database already created. Inside the database, there would not be any table because we haven't run migrations yet. We haven't run Entity Framework Core migrations. So in localhost, I do have the students table and the EF migrations history table, but I don't have anything over here. So we are going to create migrations manually because that's a very controlled way to run migrations on a remote server. So first of all, I'll come back to Visual Studio and I will open up, let's close this. I will open up Package Manager console. So I'll go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager, Package Manager console, and I'll write this command, which is script-migration-idempotent. This flag is really important because that tells the script to first check if the database already exists and if the migration has already been applied or not. So I'm going to click enter and this will create a script for me. Now you can use this SQL file and store it somewhere so that you have it handy for later on, but I'm going to copy all of this and come back to the remote connection. I'm going to create a new query inside this database and paste my migration and execute this. So this will create the new migration, which is the students table and the EF migrations history table. So now we have the tables ready. We have to insert some dummy data. So I'm going to copy this from localhost and paste it over here, but then change the student from development student to a production student. And I'm going to first select to see if there's anything. I'll rewrite the query. Let's say select star from students and execute this. We don't have any records over here, so we'll insert one record. And if we select this again, we have the production student inside the production database. And now we have the data, we have the database ready. It's now time to just connect the website that we have already published to smarterasp.net and connect it to this remote database. So now comes the last step, which is step number 5, and that's to give the connection string to the code from the SQL server. So basically we have to provide a connection through the connection string, and we already had the connection string that we copied, and you have to replace your password over here. And once you've done that, copy that, and we have to save it as environment variables. So come over here in the advanced tab of smarterasp.net, go to pool manager, and over here in the actions button, we click on that and go to environment variables. Now we will create a new environment variable that will basically replace the app settings that we had. So if we come back to the code, we have app settings. Inside app settings, we have the connection strings object. This is a JSON format, so connection strings object, and inside that we have the default connection. This is the information we need. So we need something in some way to replace this default connection in the environment variable, and the way to do that is through connection strings by referencing connection strings directly. Now there's a double underscore over here, not a single underscore, there's a double underscore, and then we define the default connection. And if you have some other name, let's say students connection, you have to specify students connection, and the format goes again like connection strings underscore default connection. And now you paste the value by replacing the dummy password that you had over here. So I've pasted the value, and now if I click submit, this is going to store the environment variable, and this basically completes it. Now if I come back and try to open the home page, you can even go back to the websites and restart the pool, so the changes are definitely to take effect. If I open privacy, it works, and now if I try to go back to the home page, it should load the production student because it's now connecting to the production SQL server. So this is it really. We were able to deploy the MVC website, and the same thing goes for a Razor website and even for a Blazor website because you are deploying .NET Core code. So now with that hosted, just go on and create some project, utilize the 60-day free trial that smarterasp.net is giving you because that's amazing. And then finally, if you decide, or if you are actually in your mind that you want to go ahead with the paid plan, only then go ahead. So I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please give a like to the video, please share with your friends, comment down below what part you like, what you didn't, and what do you want to see in the next one. So I hope you have a good one, and see you in the next one.